Hi, here's a book that I downloaded from Audible called The President is Missing by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. Yeah, I downloaded this and I finally read it. First of all, I'll read the blurb and then I'll tell you more about why I read it and what I thought about it. The blurb is President Bill Clinton and best-selling novelist James Patterson have written a spellbinding thriller, The President is Missing. As the novel opens, a threat looms. Enemies are planning an attack of unprecedented scale on America. Uncertainty and fear grip Washington. The, there are whispers of cyber terror and espionage and a traitor in the cabinet. The president himself becomes a suspect and then goes missing. Set in real time over the course of 3 days, The President is Missing is one of the most dramatic thrillers in decades, and it could all really happen. The President is Missing is Bill Clinton and James Patterson totally authentic and spellbinding thriller. I'm going to interrupt myself before I even go into my thoughts on the book to tell you also that David Ellis is a ghostwriter in this book. David Ellis has co-written several books with James Patterson, but he also has his own books that he's written. So it's very interesting to just to know that a little bit about the writers of this book. Now, as far as my thoughts on the book, it's only a 2-paragraph review, but I gave it 5 stars, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, The President is Missing is a book that I pretty much avoided. Why? Because Bill Clinton's name is on it. That's the main reason I didn't get it. I wanted to read it because James Patterson is one of my favorite authors. I've read dozens of his books. I mean, maybe 35 or 40 of his books. So I really, really wanted to read it because of that. The second reason I decided to read it is because the small group that I belong to chose this book for a July read. So I began it in July, and I did read maybe about 40% of it, but I got involved in other things, and my blog started to grow. I started to do blog tours and things of that nature. So I let the book go, and I just pretty much figured I wouldn't get back to it. Well, I decided to pick up a new book the other day, and I'm like, 60% is only going to be 4 or 5 hours. Let me go ahead and finish this book. Well, I'm glad I did. I listened to it for about an hour and I realized, I did finish this. Why? Now, it's a great thriller. Think of the show Designated Survivor, how the scenarios that are presented in that television show, and how the president has to thwart this person, thwart that person, stop this crime, stop this terrorism. I mean, there's lots of other television shows and movies that talk about the political scene. I don't get involved in the political scene any which way whatsoever, but I do watch some shows and movies that talk about it, and you see crimes and you see espionage and you see traitors and things of that nature. Um, there's a lot of pressure in this book. It includes murder, obviously corruption, espionage, and as mentioned, a traitor. The cabinet is very small, and there's only 6 members on it, and the president is absolutely sure that one of the 6 is a traitor. The question is who? And for much of the book, you may even suspect one particular individual, and I'll leave that to you to figure who that might be. Um, the president started off in combat, and even as a prisoner of war at one time. So he has a very strong constitution. He's a very sick man in some ways. He has some health issues. But what he does have is a very calculative brain. And with this, he does disappear off scene for a while, and he does do his own investigating. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. A lot of this book is devoted to the people that are perpetuating the terror, and so you get to kind of get in the mind of that a little bit, and that's kind of interesting. And I want to mention too that I listened to this on Audible. Audible is one of my favorite resources for books. This was narrated by a few voices. It had some music in it, and it was extremely entertaining. The story itself was not always plausible, but it was written in part, as mentioned, by Bill Clinton. So there were some things in the story that could only have come from somebody that had been in the White House before and knew a lot of the ins and outs of things of that nature. So that was kind of intriguing. Um, the Audible book situation, a lot of the times, it does depend on the narrator. but when you have great narrators and you have different voices and different points of view, it can get pretty interesting. So for that reason, for a lot of reasons, but in part due to the audible narrations, I did give it 5 stars. I've read other reviews that have given it 4 stars or 4.5, and some even less. But I liked it. I'm glad I read it. I am surprised, however, that I didn't finish it earlier. It really didn't take all that long. Um, it was a great read. I would love to see another collaboration between the three of them again. Obviously, I've read collaborations between James Patterson and David Ellis before, and I will continue to read them. And I will always read James Patterson pretty much no matter who he writes. I mean, there are a couple of series of his that I don't read, but I do like, obviously, uh, the Alex Cross series, the Women's Murder Club series. There's a new book called Juror Number 3 that I plan to read in the next couple of weeks. So I love James Patterson, therefore I love this book. Okay, I will link the title below to my Amazon affiliate account. So should you purchase the book via Amazon, I will make a few pennies. That's a necessary requirement for me to inform you that as an associate, I will benefit from a purchase made via that link, but it will not cost you, the purchaser, anything more. I recommend the book to you no matter what way you choose to go into it. Whether you listen to it as I did, whether you read it on your Kindle or you read a hardcover. I have a mix of his books. I have print, softcover, hardcover, Audible, Kindle, you name it, James Patterson, you're in my library. All right, that's it. Thank you for all your time. Bye-bye.